Mom stood at the head of the Thanksgiving table and tapped her wine glass. The room went silent. "Hannah, we need you to leave. Tonight. You're no longer welcome in this family." Dad slid an envelope across the table toward me. "Sign this. You're officially removed from the will." And the reason? I refused to give them something they thought they owned. My name is Hannah. I'm 26 years old. I work as a software developer for a tech startup. Nothing fancy. I live in a rented studio apartment with secondhand furniture and a coffee maker that only works half the time. My family always saw me as the practical one, the boring one. Not flashy or exciting like my younger brother Derek. Derek's 23. He's never held a job longer than 3 months. He still lives at home. Drives a BMW my parents bought him last year for his birthday. I paid my own way through college. Student loans, 2 part-time jobs, late nights in the library because I couldn't afford to fail a single class. My parents funded Derek's car, his vacations, his entire lifestyle. When I asked for help with tuition my sophomore year, Dad said, "You're old enough to handle it yourself." I wasn't the favorite, I was the invisible one. Until they needed something, I never complained. I just worked harder, stayed quiet, learned early that approval had to be earned. But for Derek, it came automatically. If you've ever been pushed aside by family, subscribe right now and tell me where you're watching from. Because what happened next showed me something I should have seen years ago. I wasn't rich or glamorous, but I had built something they knew nothing about. 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, Mom called. Her voice had that urgent edge. "We need to talk. Come for dinner Sunday." I showed up thinking maybe it was about the holidays, plans, something normal. Derek was already there, sitting at the kitchen table, smirking. Mom didn't even wait for me to sit down. "Derek's starting a business, a luxury car rental company. He needs $200,000. I blinked. Dad jumped in. "We've already given him $50,000 as seed money. We need you to contribute the rest." My stomach dropped. I don't have that kind of money just sitting around. Derek leaned back in his chair. "Come on, sis. You work in tech. Everyone in tech is loaded." I tried to keep my voice steady. "I have student loans, rent, savings, but not—" Mom cut me off. "You're being selfish. This is family. Family helps family." Dad's tone turned hard, cold. "We raised you, fed you, gave you everything. This is how you repay us?" I tried to explain. I'd been saving for my own future. Maybe a house someday. Maybe security. Derek laughed. Actually laughed. "What future? You sit at a computer all day. I'm actually building something real." They piled on, one after another. Ungrateful. Cheap. Secretly jealous that Derek was more ambitious. My hands started shaking, but I stood firm. "I can't give you that money. I'm sorry." Mom's face went cold. "Then don't bother coming to Thanksgiving." "What?" Dad didn't even look at me. "You heard your mother. If you can't support your brother, you're not part of this family." I left without another word. That night, Derek texted me. "Hope you're happy. You just ruined everything." I didn't respond. A week later, Mom texted like nothing had happened. "Dinner's at 4 on Thursday. Bring wine." They actually thought the threat had worked, that I'd show up with a check. I stared at that text for 10 minutes. Part of me wanted to ignore it, but another part, maybe the part that still hoped they'd apologize, that they'd see me, that part made me go. I showed up on Thanksgiving with a bottle of red wine and a homemade pumpkin pie. The whole extended family was there. Grandparents, 2 aunts, my uncle, several cousins. Derek met me at the door. He leaned in close and whispered, "So, did you bring the check?" "What?" "No." His grin widened. Then this is going to be fun to watch. My stomach twisted, but I walked inside. Dinner started normal enough. Polite conversation, passing dishes, the usual holiday small talk. Then, halfway through the meal, Mom tapped her wine glass. Everyone stopped talking. I need to say something about Hannah. My stomach dropped. Mom's voice dripped with disappointment. Hannah has decided not to help her brother when he needs her most. Audible gasps rippled around the table. Aunt Linda turned to me. Hannah, how could you? He's your baby brother. Dad piled on immediately. We didn't raise you to be this selfish and cold. Derek played his part perfectly. Voice soft, wounded. I just asked for a little support to follow my dreams. Guess I know where I stand. I tried to defend myself. I can't afford to just hand out. Uncle Rich interrupted. You make 6 figures in tech. Don't play poor with us. That's not how it works. I have loans, expenses. Grandma's voice cut through, soft but sharp. Family comes first, sweetheart. Always. No one was listening. The narrative was already set. I was the villain. My cousins avoided eye contact. Some of them looked uncomfortable, but no one said a word. Then Mom stood. Hannah, we need you to leave. Tonight. You're no longer welcome in this family. Dad slid a legal envelope across the table. Sign this. We're leaving everything to Derek. At least he actually cares about this family. Derek sat back, arms crossed, grinning. Some of my cousins stared. Grandpa looked down at his plate. My hands trembled as I picked up the envelope. Humiliation burned through my chest. Mom kept going. We gave you a chance to do the right thing. You chose money over family. My voice came out steadier than I felt. I chose my future over funding his fantasy. Dad's face hardened. Then you have no future here. Sign it and leave. I picked up the pen, paused, looked around the table one last time. Derek muttered under his breath, finally doing something right. I signed, stood, grabbed my coat without a word. As I reached the door, I heard Derek behind me. Okay, can we eat now? That pie actually looks amazing. I sat in my car outside the house, hands still shaking on the steering wheel. My phone buzzed. 47 unread emails, most flagged urgent, one from my boss at the startup. Hannah, need your final answer by Monday. Offer expires end of business day. What they didn't know, what nobody knew, was that 3 months ago, everything changed. I'd been working on a proprietary algorithm for data compression. Something new. Something that actually worked. A major tech corporation noticed. They approached our startup about acquisition. But they didn't just want the company. They specifically wanted my portion of the intellectual property rights. The offer was $1.2 million. Cash, plus stock options and a senior engineering position at the parent company. I hadn't told anyone, not my coworkers, not my friends, especially not my parents. Why? Because I learned when I was young that when my family knew I had something, they'd find a way to take it. I'd been agonizing over the decision for weeks. The money was life-changing, but it meant leaving my startup team. The disowning just clarified everything. They thought they were taking away my inheritance. They had no idea I was about to create my own. I opened the email. My fingers weren't shaking anymore. I typed, I accept the offer. I'll see you Monday morning to finalize. And hit send. That night, I called Jenna, my college roommate. She's a contract lawyer now. My voice broke when she answered. Wait, they did what? At Thanksgiving dinner? In front of your whole family? I told her everything. She listened, got angrier with every sentence. You signed under duress and emotional manipulation. That document might not even hold up legally. I don't even care about their will anymore. I just accepted the acquisition offer. Silence on the other end. Then, The $1.2 million one? Hannah! Oh my God, that's incredible. We talked logistics, protecting assets, setting boundaries. She offered to review everything pro bono. You're my friend. Let me help. Her advice was simple. When this goes through, don't tell them anything. Let them think they won. Over the next 2 weeks, Derek flooded social media. Posts about my new business venture and entrepreneur life. My parents commented on every single one. So proud of our son, the business owner. I unfriended and blocked them all, focused entirely on my transition. The acquisition finalized the second week of December. $1.2 million hit my account. I immediately paid off all my student loans. $58,000, gone. Bought a small 2-bedroom house, cash. Set up retirement and investment accounts. Jenna reviewed everything. You're set for years if you're smart about this. You did it. I sat in my new living room, empty except for boxes. I just want peace. Christmas Eve, my phone rang. Derek. First time he'd contacted me since Thanksgiving. Hey sis. Look, Mom and Dad feel really bad about what happened. Come to Christmas dinner tomorrow. Please? I didn't trust it. Why the sudden change? Because it's Christmas? Families fight. Let's move past it. Jenna warned me it was probably a setup. But I wanted closure. One final chance to stand my ground. Fine, I'll come. But I'm not giving anyone anything. Derek's response came too fast. No one's asking. Just come. 3 p.m. What I didn't know was that Derek's luxury car business had collapsed in 6 weeks. He'd burned through the entire $50,000 on deposits for cars he couldn't afford to maintain. And my parents were panicking. I arrived on Christmas Day, much smaller gathering. Just my parents and Derek. Mom was syrupy sweet. Hannah, sweetheart, we're so glad you came. We've missed you. Dad looked awkward. We may have overreacted at Thanksgiving. Every instinct screamed trap, but I stayed calm, observed. We sat for dinner, forced small talk, fake pleasantness. No one mentioned the disowning. Midway through the meal, Derek cleared his throat. So, Hannah, I need to be honest about something. Here we go. The business didn't work out. I lost the $50,000. Mom jumped in immediately. It wasn't his fault. His business partner scammed him and disappeared. Dad, defensive. These things happen in startups. It's a learning experience. Derek leaned forward. But I have a new opportunity, a better one. I just need $100,000 to get it off the ground. Silence fell over the table. I set down my fork carefully. You're kidding me. Mom's voice turned pleading. Hannah, he's your brother. He needs help. I actually laughed. A real, incredulous laugh. You disowned me. 5 weeks ago, at Thanksgiving, in front of the entire family. Dad waved his hand. We were emotional, caught up in the moment. We didn't mean it. You made me sign legal documents removing me from your will. Mom, dismissive. We tore those up. You're back in. Everything's fine now. Derek, impatient. So can you help me out or not? I set down my fork carefully. You want to know the truth? The real truth? I pulled out my phone, opened my banking app, turned the screen toward them. The balance was partially visible, but clearly 7 figures. The same day you kicked me out of this family, I accepted an offer to sell my work for $1.2 million. Absolute silence. My parents froze, mouths open. Derek sputtered. You had $1 million and you didn't help me? I didn't have it then, but even if I did, why in the world would I give it to you? Mom's voice rose. Because we're family. Family helps. I cut her off. You disowned me. You stood up in front of everyone I've known my whole life and told me I wasn't part of this family. Dad tried next. We gave you everything. Your education, a home. I paid for my own education. With loans I just finished paying off last week. With my money. Derek's face turned red. So you're seriously going to hold a grudge? That's pathetic. I stood, grabbed my coat. I'm not holding a grudge. I'm holding a boundary. Mom started crying. We made a mistake, Hannah. Please. You made a choice. And now, so have I. Dad tried one last threat. If you walk out that door, don't expect anything from us. Ever again. I put my hand on the doorknob. I stopped expecting things from you when I was 12, and you missed my science fair because Derek had a baseball game he didn't even play in. I opened the door. Derek's voice turned desperate. Mean. You're really gonna let your own brother fail? I turned one last time. No, Derek. You're letting yourself fail. I'm just refusing to fund it anymore. And I walked out into the cold December night. I drove to my new house. Small, cozy, warm lights glowing in the windows. Completely and fully mine. Jenna was already there with Chinese takeout and a bottle of wine. So, how did it go? I exhaled for what felt like the first time in hours. I told them everything. And then I left. We toasted. To new beginnings. To boundaries. To freedom. Later, curled up on my new couch, I reflected. For years, I thought something was wrong with me. That I wasn't good enough, smart enough, generous enough. Turns out I was always enough. They just couldn't see it because they never really looked. Over the following months, I thrived in my new senior role. Built genuine friendships with coworkers. Started a small investment fund. My parents reached out twice via email. I didn't respond. Derek's social media went completely quiet. 3 months later, I ran into Aunt Linda at a coffee shop. Awkward, uncomfortable silence. She spoke quietly. Your mom misses you, you know. I stayed calm. She knows my number, but I'm not available to be used anymore. Linda looked down. I should have said something. At Thanksgiving. It wasn't right. No, you shouldn't have had to. They should have done better. I walked away. No anger left. Just clarity. I finally understood I never needed their approval. I just needed my own. If this story hit close to home, I really want to hear from you. Have you ever had to choose between family loyalty and protecting your own future? Drop your story in the comments. I read every single one. And if you're watching from somewhere in the world where family pressure feels impossible, tell me where you are. Let's build a community. Hit subscribe if you believe that standing up for yourself isn't selfish. It's survival. Thank you for being here. You're not alone.